to Sunstar Knits. I'm Eleanor, and this is another knitting podcast. For you won't have had like such a big break because I just posted a video yesterday, I believe. And even though I tried to stick to Sunday, Monday, posting on either of those 2 days, I had some problems. First, I was sick. Even though I posted those 2 videos or filmed those 2 videos while I was sick, I got worse. And then another little thing is I only have a laptop that I'm signed into. So my laptop is my only way of posting my videos and editing my videos. And I broke the charger for my laptop. And I say I broke it because I dropped it. It was plugged into my tablet because all of my devices are USB-C charging. So it was plugged into my tablet and it slipped off the table and landed directly on the charging cord, and the little like metal charging piece snapped and broke off. So I freaked out a little bit because I use it for school, and I use it for editing this stuff. So there was a bit of like a 2-week break between, or what felt like a 2-week break, I think, between filming podcast 4, I believe, and the Frog It and Finish It, and posting it because my laptop was dead and I was trying to get a new charger and it was a whole thing. So yes, today is Friday, November 8th at about 12 o'clock, and I have quite a few finished objects for you. I'm going to save the best one for last, but I am fully into Christmas gift knitting. And because at my house, sorry, there's needles falling, but apparently this year we weren't supposed to be doing gifts. I think I mentioned that. So, or like the gifts were all supposed to be experiences or handmade or like food. So consumable, like not things that were like, not stuff. It was supposed to be like memory type things. And I didn't know this until mid-October. And I'm like, I have a bunch of people coming who are family, but like it's my dad's sister, so my aunt, her husband, her 2 sons, so my cousins, and then a foreign exchange student are all, as well as my grandma, are all coming for Christmas. So that's a lot more people than I'm used to. And normally, like the people who come for Christmas, they live in Virginia. So all the way on the other side of the country. So we don't see them that often, so I don't know them as well, and I don't know their interests as well to get them something. And normally I would just go on Amazon and I would get something small or like whatever for them to open up. But we're not doing that. So I got a new book. I got Knitovation. I don't know if you can read that or if it's backwards or not. It's Knitovation Stitch Dictionary by Andrea Rangel. And I got it from Joann's. And I had fallen completely in love because there's so many cute ones. Like there's a panda, those are crabs, those are little ponies, that's the globe, that's some dragons. I fell in love with the rubber duckies and the dinosaurs. So the dinosaurs are actually my next project. But I was thinking, I have so many, so I kind of have grown in my knitting and crochet. So and my budget that I'm willing, and I found like my budget I'm willing to spend on yarn. So I've gone from pretty much exclusively using the like cheap acrylic yarns, because I also started out doing plushies, so I have a lot of blanket yarns that I no longer use. but I've switched from using pretty much exclusively acrylic or acrylic blends to pretty much wool, except for in the rare case of my sisters and my mom who are allergic to wool, so I use acrylic again. But that means I have a lot of acrylic scraps, and I have a lot of just like skeins of acrylic that I don't know what to do with and are just sitting around like collecting dust that I don't know when to use, like I don't know what to use them for, all that stuff. And I was like, hey, this would be a nice stash buster, and I could get some giftness out of it. So I've been looking through this book and picking out different ones that I think people will like. So my cousin, or like my aunt and her family, are very outdoorsy people, and they live in Virginia, and Virginia is very hot, but it also does get cold. So I was like, hey, I can just make a whole bunch of colorwork hats. That way I, 1, get rid of my scraps, 2, get a whole bunch of gift knits, 3, get to try a whole variety of these patterns without having to keep them and like find a place for them. And 4, I get to work on my colorwork because I've got 2 colorwork projects coming up. So I get to work on my tensioning, I get to work on like catching my floats and figuring out my like ideal way of doing color work. But also I have 10 people, including me, coming. So it's my aunt and uncle, my grandma, her 2 kids, the exchange student, my sister, my parents, me, I don't know, like there's a giant maybe if my middle sister, the one who the Moan cardigan's for, and her husband are coming. I have no clue. Have not heard if they're coming or not. I'm assuming no, but also I have to like plan for yes, because I can't like probably whip out a hat in a week, but it would not be a secret. So I picked out a whole bunch of, sorry, this is kind of rambly, but I picked out a bunch of colorwork patterns I was like, I would really like to try, and like I really think they would like, and all that. So I started making hats. And like, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 finished, 7 finished objects. 5 hats, 2 others. And I have sort of people for them, but I'm not like gonna give them to the people. I'm going to put them on the table, because we are on our kitchen table, and be like, hey, here are your gifts. This is like blah, 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 blah. This is what happened. Kind of say the story and be like, pick which one you like best. So I'm realizing they are finished objects. Ignore the not weaved in ends, because again, I have 7 projects, so I will weave in the ends when I have time. So I did like go into this with some like, oh, they would like this, but also there's an exchange student I've never met, so I kind of need to have some like more neutral patterns. So this is my most recent finished object, and it is a nice just white hat with a black scorpion motif and some 2x2 ribbing. So the reason I chose a scorpion motif is because they actually have a scorpion. So I'm thinking about this for my oldest cousin of the 2. I think he would really enjoy this. It's big on me. It's a bit short, so I'm gonna definitely like stretch it with blocking. I am not a very accomplished hat knitter. So, trying to get the ends away. So I'm not a very accomplished hat knitter. I don't make a lot of hat knits. So this is kind of just like me, and obviously each motif. So this is like a 30 stitch motif repeat. So, yeah. And I got very impatient and didn't knit it long enough. And I also apparently have a very small head, so I can't use my head as like a gauge. So that's finished object number 1, scorpion hat. Finished object number 2 is actually my oldest finished object, and it is just a chunky ribbed hat with some Thick and Quick This is supposed to be double folded. It's really stretchy. It was originally supposed to be for my dad, but I have other yarns, so I'll make him another one. But I might also include my parents' gifts in this so they can just like pick as well. So there might be 2 of these on the table in different color reds. I also might just like put out way more than I make right now, because I also have a couple other hats. This is actually really nice. I might make one for myself. But yes, this is another one. I used Lion Brand's Thick and Quick chunky yarn. So it does have a wool content, and I will separate the wool content from the non-wool content because I don't know people's preferences, but it's only like 20% wool, so it's not bad. I don't know the color, so tough luck. And I used Passion Knit Kelsey's chunky ribbed beanie pattern, free pattern here on YouTube, which was really, really nice because it's like 56 stitches. So I mainly just you knit rib for 11 inches, and then you do 3 rounds of decreases, and then you bind off. So it's a really easy, kind of simple, probably will be, I don't know. So that's finished object number 2. Ignore my hat head now because I'm going to try on all of these for you. So I actually really like this. It's a bit brighter and on camera. It's a bit more of a purple, like cranberry color in person. Okay. Hat number 3 is also a chunky ribbed beanie in Lion Brand's Thick and Quick. This one is another one I made slightly too short, but I also made it slightly too big. So I started out with, I was like, oh, I did that one from Passionate Kelsey's, and I was like, I can do that. And I do the long tail cast on, and I hate redoing that cast on. So I just like picked a length and went with it and just like did all the stitches until I had like an appropriate length of tail. And I had 10 more stitches, and I was like, it's fine. So I had to finagle the decreases a bit to get the decreases to look okay. And that also meant, and I was only using one skein, so it's like, I can't make it super long because I made it super big, but also I made it bigger, so it should fit someone's bigger head, and I'm going to try and like block it a bit more down. So this is Lion Brand's Thick and Quick in the color Kale. I talked about this in one of my past videos with some gripes about Lion Brand. I did end up returning that yarn I was going to use for, there might be a break in between this because I do have some acquisitions. But that's for the end of the episode. So, have some gripes with Lion Brand. I did return the 6 balls of the other one that were like, it's a whole thing. Go back, watch my video. I think it was probably the one I just posted. So 3, 4, one of those 2. I don't know. Watch them all. Figure it out. Kind of in a sassy mood today. So I really do like this yarn. It's a nice deep emerald green with some white and brown flecks. By the way, both of these hats, both of the chunky hats were on 9mm needles, 9mm 16-inch circulars, and all of the other like colorwork hats were on 5mm needles. So that's hat number 3. Hat number 4 is another problem child. So this one, absolutely am loving the colors. I'm loving the work. But again, you're working with how like big the color work chart is. So this one is a bit small even for me. So that's why I'm like, I kind of should have made it longer. I mean, like, I'm not hating on it. So it's a nice color work chart with some green and black and then more double rib. So if anyone's head is bigger than mine, this probably won't work. So this is probably one of the ones that like will be on the table but will not be picked, which I'm okay with because I like it. Probably keep it for myself. And so that's hat number four. Hat number 4. And all of these, the stitch counts are different. It's all category 4 yarn, so it's all worsted weight yarn. It's all 100% acrylic yarn. And then the hat, like the pattern I used for the decreases is my baker's hat. It's a free hat. Pretty much it's a free pattern, not a free hat, a free pattern. Pretty much you just split the hat into 4 sections, and then you do a slip knit on one side of the stitch marker and then a knit 2 together on the other, and it creates these like lines to the rim, and then you do that until you're supposed to have 12 stitches, and then you bind off. And so you're doing a round of decrease stitches and then a round of just stockinette. So you're alternating. So it kind of gives this kind of boxy, square shaped head, which I'm okay with. I modified it slightly because, again, these were bigger stitch counts, because I think it's supposed to be a 92 stitch count, and of course this is more like 120. Yeah, this is 120, so I modified it. So on this one, I did do the 4, but then I split it into 8. And so I started just doing the 4, and then I did some 8 to just help it decrease a bit more. I probably should have gone with more of just doing the 4 stitch or 8 stitch decreases for a while and then brought in the 16, but I am an impatient little person who is hat blind because she doesn't wear hats a lot or at all. Literally, now that I have a hood, I only wear the hood because it's so much nicer because it keeps my nose warm, or it has like a neck thing, so it keeps my neck and my nose warm as well as my ears. So like hats are useless to me. Okay, last hat is actually the first one I made from these colorwork charts, and it is this nice black and red one with a dragon motif. So that's the motif, and then I added these little like heart stitches, and I will show you. My floats are pretty nice on all of these, so nice floats. This is also the biggest hat, which I'm kind of wanting for, it is like a good size, like lengthwise, and it's like, I mean like my ideal hat, so that's like, would be probably that big. So my ideal hat is probably like a quarter of the size, not a quarter, like 3/4 of the size. So this is probably going to be for either my uncle or my dad. Probably my uncle, because I can always make my dad another one. One of the guys. Or technically I should probably make my younger cousin this same size hat because he is ginormous. He's like 13 and he's almost 6 foot. He's giant. So those are those types of gift knits. And then I have one more gift knit. So this is actually a different type of colorwork. So this is mosaic colorwork. This is my first delve into mosaic colorwork. This was a while ago. So I made that a while ago. And I quite like it. So I would actually rather not give this away because this is actually really nice. It's a cowl, so you can either wear it like this to warm your neck and your nose, or sometimes you just wear it down around your neck, or sometimes it's even wide enough that I can just pull it up And 1, it keeps my hair off my face. 2, it keeps my ears warm. So it's kind of like a hat, but without like the hassle of having to figure out what to do with your hair. It looks funny. Really only would do this with a hood on or something. I don't know. It's like half of a hat. So I would actually rather not give this, but this is kind of like my safety. So if I need to give this, I can. This is also, I know it's Lion Brand. I think it's Lion Brand Woolies. It's also worsted, so whatever the worsted weight Woolies is, it's that. And I used this Mosaic Crochet Workshop. I know it says Mosaic Crochet, but the patterns in it can be used, technically I think any any crochet or any color work chart that does not have diagonals can be used for a mosaic color work, because you cannot do diagonal, or at least in my experience, you cannot do diagonal mosaic crochet because you're slipping the stitches. So you have to like be able to link them all together. So you would have to, instead of having like one stitch, so instead of it being like this where you have one stitch and then you're doing the next stitch on the next row diagonal to that, because this row would be all in black with these red stitches being slipped, and then this row would be all in red. So you would have to have that be red and red, is my understanding. So that's a safety, because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I finished those pretty quickly. Like that scorpion one, I have 5. The scorpion one was moved to the back. So this scorpion one I finished in like 2 days. So theoretically I'm halfway there, and I still have another month and a half to do it. So I can probably actually slow down. But I also just kind of want to get it over with so I don't have to stretch. So I'm thinking I won't have to use this because I actually really like this. But yes, that's my finished object / not finished object. That was not a face I wanted you guys to see. Oh well. So I have, if you were counting, one more slightly disappointing finished object. So the reason I said I had some acquisitions is because if you watched last podcast episode, you would have seen my slight dilemma, because I returned that Thick and Quick yarn to Joann's because it was going to be more expensive to use that yarn than to just buy 100% wool yarn because of the sides of the balls and stuff. So I returned it. So I was like thinking, because I needed another ball of that Knit Picks Brava Sport Weight in mulberry, that purple color, it was going to be $11 plus with shipping for this $3 skein. So I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to like make this shipping worth it and buy my, where is this going? Buy like my yarn for the novice cardigan off of Knit Picks, but I couldn't figure out the color. I just sent a DPN flying. That's fun. Can't fidget with that anymore. So in that video I did say I had placed the order, and because of the time delay and like the week of not filming and like stuff, that came in. So my slightly disappointing finished object is the Moan cardigan. Let me stand up. Like, you don't get to see my pants because I'm currently in sweats. I'm in my work sweats because Zoom attire. So this is the finished Moan cardigan. My sister wanted white or purple buttons. I couldn't find white or purple buttons at Joann's, so we got her clear. And I'm actually really liking that because they look like little stars or little flowers. But if you've watched my other podcasts, you would know I did quite a lot of work and actually made the sleeves longer to make sure the body and the sleeve dots matched. And now, if you're looking at this, it is very apparent that the sleeve dots do not match the body dots. And that is because my idiot brain thought, oh yeah, like of course the body ended in a white stitch or a white set of dots. Not at all like it ended in pattern with a green dot like it was supposed to because it started with a white dot. I don't know what got lost in translation. So I added an extra set of dots. So this, instead of having 15 like it was supposed to, it has, I think 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, it has 16 because I'm like, it needs to end in a white. Like it has to end in a white to match with the body. And instead of course, like unfolding the body that's been on my floor for the past 2-3 weeks, I don't know, for the past however long, and being like, oh no, it has green dots. I just plowed ahead. So I talked with my mom because I'm like, I'm not redoing the sleeves. I'm not redoing the sleeves. Obviously, they're sewn onto the body. So she's just like, it'll just look like a chevron. And I'm like, it does do a nice, it breaks stuff up. But okay. And then I also did the button band, which is a type of button band I never did before because she has you like pick up the stitches from the body, but don't knit them. So just like pick them up, don't put any active yarn through it. Then you cast on stitches and then you knit down to do it. So, never done that before. But I will definitely be making this again for myself because I'm really liking the shape of it. I don't know about my placement of the buttons. It definitely does still need to be like steam blocked and stuff, but yes. So that is the Moan cardigan that will either be mailed to my sister if she does not come to things or does not come to Christmas at our house, or given to her next time I see her. So thankful to have that off my needles. And I only have one whip for you right now. Because the rest of all my stuff, like I haven't worked on it all. Or well, I've worked on the Aurora top, but not enough. Like I literally worked on it for 20 minutes in line for voting this week. So it was probably like 3 rounds, so nothing worth showing you guys. But you know how I was working on a sleeve last time you saw this project? Guess what? I'm still working on a sleeve, just not the same one. I finished a sleeve and I'm not on Sleeve Island. I actually started the second sleeve and didn't wait 2 months. So I have made this much progress. That's my little armpit marker. So that's how much progress. I don't know if I like this. So this pattern I think so this pattern is the Arctic Light Sweater by Veronica Lindbergh or Kutavakika. And so far, it's been a great pattern. We've loved it. We love it. It's beautiful. It's frustrating, but it's beautiful, understandable, legible, like amazing. But when it comes to the sleeve, it's slightly confusing. I think I've talked about this before because she doesn't have you have to decrease by 2 at a time. Instead of knitting 2 together, you have to knit 3 together in order for the moss double seed stitch. I don't know what the difference is between moss and seed stitches. So in order to keep the pattern the same. So 1, you're decreasing like exponentially. 2, you don't have a set of rows in between your decrease. So instead of saying it's decreasing for every 10 rounds, you're decreasing for every like inch is what it says. So it gives you a length to decrease, not a set of rows. So 1, very frustrating because I don't want to stop and continuously like measure after every single row. So I just figured out my gauge and how many rows to an inch for me, which was 4. I had 4 rows to an inch, which was my decrease amount. But it also gives you the number of decreases you need, and then it gives you, after you finish that amount of decreases, how many stitches you should still have on your needle. It didn't match up. So I have more decreases than she like gives in the pattern because I decided, well, normally they want you to go to a certain stitch count anyway, so I just went to the stitch count. And then she wants you to decrease again for the wrist, but like this is already really stinking tight on my wrist, and she wanted me to decrease again for like almost like half that, like it would have been tiny and it would have been tight on my wrist. So I didn't do that last round of increases and just went straight into the twisted rib. And then even though I must have been measuring wrong because the pattern length in the length of the sleeves in the pattern is exactly the length my sister wanted her sleeves to be. So I was like, cool, I don't have to add any length, I don't have to do anything. So it says knit to a certain amount, like from the underarm to the sleeve, and then start your thing. So I measured it, it was there. Now, I'm gonna measure it again. But now it's like 2 inches short of what she wanted. So I'm gonna have to stretch that out with blocking, which would actually make the decrease rows look better. Because right now it looks wonky. So I'm not totally happy with that. Not totally happy that a paid pattern kind of had a pretty significant mistake, but like easily fixable. So this is my only whip. So I could stand up again and give you a better view, but I'm not going to. So this is my only whip. Sorry, I've just hit a wall. I am going to pause filming super quickly, run upstairs to my room, and grab the yarn I got from, or a skein, I'm not grabbing all of them, of yarn I got for the novice cardigan, which I'm not going to cast on anything until I finish this sleeve, which I've been plugging away at it, so hopefully it'll be today or tomorrow when I film it, or when I finish it. I'll probably end up filming something and like inserting it here. Or I'll take a picture and I'll insert it here and be like, woohoo, I finished it. I probably won't have anything more to say about it. And then it will promptly get blocked and put away to be given to my sister at Christmas because she doesn't want it at Thanksgiving. Because I asked her, I was like, hey, if I finish this before Thanksgiving, because we're going to my grandma's house where she lives for Thanksgiving, do you want me to bring it down and you can like have it and use it in December and like whatever? She's like, no, save it for Christmas. And I was all like, okay. So it'll be saved for Christmas. And then I'm thinking I'm going to cast on the Tudor blouse. Because that's my I was really excited for it. I'll continue. Hopefully, I'm going to finish my book club cardigan, hopefully before Christmas as well. Before the new year. And then I'm going to do the Tudor blouse, and then I'm going to do the novice blouse. Novice cardigan, not blouse. Okay. I will see you in, not even a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Should have gotten water when that was paused. Yeah, my social/energy battery is very rapidly approaching 0. So we will finish this up. Okay, so I decided I was going to get wool of the Andes bulky weight in the color brass heather. Let me actually, because there's a nice little patch of sun right here. Sorry, clearing it out. Let me do a quick little show. So that's the color. It is very much a brown yellow, a brass, I don't know, it's a brown leather, sorry. It is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It's 100 grams. Sorry. With 137 yards. I think I got 9 skeins of this. It's pretty affordable. I think it was on sale. And I also periodically, if I leave things in my cart too long, for Knit Picks website, they will send me 17% off. And I was like, cool. So I bought it. I got 70% off. Tip for Knit Picks. Just sign up for your account and then leave stuff in your cart and you may get an email for a percentage off. Yeah, so it's made in Peru. Hand wash, dry flat. It's a gauge of 3 to 3.75 stitches equals 1 inch on number 10 to 11 needle size. Don't know what that means. I live in the US. I don't use US needle sizes or hook sizes because who the heck gives random numbers to hooks or needles and then gives letters to hook sizes for crochet? It doesn't make sense. Millimeters makes way more sense. But also that's kind of the only time I use the metric versus the imperial system is when I'm knitting. So that's the color. I'm I am going to go get something to eat, pet my dog, who's laying over there in his bed looking very cute, and do some more homework, because that's what I was doing before this. I was doing homework and knitting. And I have and a bunch of discussions and an assignment for the history of rock. Taking some weird classes. General ed for anyone who's been to a U.S. college. General education classes. Because yes, you're paying upwards of like, depending on which school you're going to, like anywhere from, I think the cheapest I've seen is $8,000 from one of my in-schools to like $20,000 to $30,000, $40,000 to $50,000, depending on like if you're going to a private like Ivy League school. And you still have to take general education classes because here in America, even schools use capitalism. Can't you tell I love it? Yeah, so on that note, have a wonderful week. I hope you are going to have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. If you don't, eat some good food. I don't know. You don't have to be American to celebrate Thanksgiving. Get some friends together. Make some traditional food from whatever country you're in and eat it with people you love. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. I say that multiple times. Bye.